and then I'm going to share my screen. And I want to thank all of y'all for coming tonight. Actually, I'm going to not share my screen quite yet because what I want to say is that this has been one of the better times of my life with Lisa. I know, Dorothy, you have watched what Lisa has posted as far as recordings and stuff, and you actually watched the one that was in Team Players. Mm-hmm. That's our coaches. And I know that the rest, Marsha watched it today, but she'll probably watch it again today. Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to share was, and the point I wanted to make to Martha today is when Lisa first came to us as a group, she literally was hanging on by a thread. She spent months, wasn't it, Dorothy, in her bedroom, in her bed, didn't even get out of bed. And she's here.
Yeah.
What happened?
Hi.
We were talking about you.
Where are you?
We were talking bad about you.
Yeah, see that?
I'm at bingo. They are doing something special for the veterans tonight, and I got a 10-minute break, so I had to pop in and say hi, everybody.
Oh,
okay. That was cool. So what we're going to do tonight, Lisa, is we're going to share your the tape that you put into Team Players, and we're going to also do the tape from Nick Fry today that he did about emotional well-being. And it's just really odd that those two happened at the same time. But I was telling for the benefit of those that weren't here from the very beginning of how when you first got into the group, you were really in bed for months at a time. And the other day, Lisa was talking when we were having our team meeting with Gay, and she was saying how she fit back into her uniform. And I hearkened back to when all this was going on, because I'm Lisa's aunt. And when she went away to Desert Storm, and I couldn't even talk about it the other day, I was surprised how emotional that I got. But it was really hard to see her. She had a 1-year-old baby, and here she was being deployed to Saudi Arabia in Desert Storm. And her husband had offered to go in her place to Desert Storm. And it is when she came back from Desert Storm that she was broken. And her husband was wonderful to her. And he tried for as long as he could. And in the end, Lisa she was medically retired from the service. She was lost her children. She wasn't fit to be around her children.
It was a basket case.
Yeah, she finally decided she was going to do more harm to her kids by being there than she would by not being there. And of course, her marriage fell apart. And over a 20-year period of time, now Lisa thought her story was, when she was talking the other day, was the fact that she could fit back into her uniform. And I'll let you pick it up from there, Lisa, for a few minutes since you're here. And really, by me reminding you, tell them what happened in your epiphany.
Oh, we were in our coach meeting, and I was, Mommy asked me to share about fitting back in my uniform, and so I talked about the weight I had lost in between and fitting back in my uniform, and I didn't even see the bigger picture of it until the end. And Mommy was like, "No, that's not it." Like she just said, I was discharged from the Marine Corps, subsequently divorced, and when I got divorced, I was not mentally or physically fit to take care of my children. So I lost my children at the ages of 13, 10, and 9. And so the bigger picture is that now I'm leading a beautiful life. I'm active, I'm healthy. I have my family back. I have my children back. I was sharing in the live video that I did in Team Players that my daughter visited recently, and she didn't tell me, but she told Mommy, she said, I have my mom back, and I don't have to worry about her anymore. And that was one of the things that I talked about is I have my children back in my life. I have beautiful grandchildren. I have an amazing circle of friends. I have family that I can throw a rock at their house. They're not 700 miles away. So,
Lisa, can you talk a little bit about when you don't want to be around people?
Oh, yeah. Those of you that were in the beginning Huddle Ups may not remember, but I was in my house in Alabama, locked in my bedroom, and I had, my most recent ex and 2 kids there, and I was in a house with 3 people and locked in my bedroom all the time. And I had there was times that I was sick when my children were little that I would be in the bed I remember being in the bed for literally months, and the only thing I saw of my children was them coming up and handing me a handful of pills and a glass of milk to drink them with. So a lot of isolation. When I was really bad, but when I started to come back a little bit, then I isolated myself on purpose because I didn't want people to worry about me. Like I didn't want the sympathy and the pity and the people, even the most well-intentioned people that don't understand depression can say the wrong things to you. So it was a very isolated, not to mention suicide attempts. I literally, if you've seen in the movies, people in a mental health institution in a rubber room in a straitjacket, I've been there for real. So it was pretty bad. So to come back from that, just from getting proper nutrition, is pretty amazing.
Thank you, honey. So we'll go ahead and thank you for popping in, and you did a better job of explaining to them what I was intending tonight, is to saying it's never the end. It could be a new beginning, and you're proof of that.
Yeah.
All right.
And I would like to add that I did the work, but I couldn't have come this far without the help of the Optavia community, my coach, my family, my friends. Always learning is the key to success. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Lisa. That was perfect, honey.
Thank you, hon.
Win some money at bingo.
Have fun. We miss you. So y'all can see my desktop, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna start with Lisa. Dorothy, you don't mind and Marcia watching it again, do you?
No, she's so
Go
good.
ahead. Say what you want to say. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and start.
Good evening, everybody, and happy Veterans
You
Day.
need to turn it
My
up.
name is
Just turn
Lisa
it up.
Griffin, and I'm here tonight to share a little bit of my story with you, and hopefully
Can y'all
just
hear
a little
that?
bit of cheer and motivation. And by all means, as I'm sharing, anybody that would like to share my story, I give you my wholehearted permission to share this with anybody you think it may help. So I'm wearing my uniform for the first time in 29 years. My heart is very full today because I'm healthy enough to fit back into this. And I'll start, before I share my story, by saying that my next mission is maintenance, because in between the 29 years ago and now that I'm able to wear this uniform again, I have gained and lost a combined, are you ready for it? 890 pounds. So I clearly have no trouble losing weight. I have trouble maintaining it. So I'm going to be leaning on the support of my coaches and our community to take the action steps that I need to do to maintain this weight that you're seeing in front of you right now. So I'm going to sit down and take my cover off and just share a little bit of my story with you.
Next number of the winning yellow.
Okay, I'm having a moment. So my story begins, I'm going to start back at the beginning. I'm in my uniform, as you see in front of me, but back in 1989, when I returned from Desert Storm, I was discharged from the Marine Corps, divorced, and I had 3 children that I was unable to care for because my health and my mental health was in such a bad state. I was on a lot of medications. I spent the years after I was discharged from the Marine Corps in hospitals, a lot of therapy, and just more medication than I cared to expand upon here. But suffice to say that I was heavily medicated, hospitalized, and in a really bad way for 20 some years. Fast forward to 5 years ago, my aunt, who is a health coach, and my beloved aunt, she came through my Alabama to visit me on her way back from a Take Shape for Life convention. At that time, I would have liked to lose some weight, but I was more concerned with nutrition. I fully well realized that I didn't eat anything that was nutritious. I didn't eat fruit. I didn't eat vegetables. I ate a lot of processed food, fast food. So my aunt came through right after a convention, and she shared with me about Optavia, then Take Shape for Life. She left me some food, and I tried it. And I immediately called her and said, I want to do this. I got my food, and within 3 days, the nutrition change in my system completely changed my life. Let me back up a minute. In those 20 years that after my discharge from the Marine Corps, the loss of my family and the loss of my husband, I had more than 10 suicide attempts, 3 of them nearly successful. And I say that to say that the difference that proper nutrition and healthy habits has made in my life is what you see in front of you. 5 years later, I have my life back. I'm healthy. At the time I started with Optavia, I was on no less than 7 medications for my bipolar disorder, and I was also on heavy pain medication. And as I worked with my doctors, and in combination with working with my doctors, the improved nutrition and all the healthy habits, hydration, sleep, rest, movement, I've managed to get to where I am today, sitting in front of you, back in my uniform and back in a beautiful life. So, anything I can add to that?
You can talk about a convention this year.
Oh, okay. So I was at convention this year, and this was actually my second convention. And the thing that struck me most about Optavia, the thing that I took away from the convention, was not one person that was on that stage was talking about go sell the product. What I heard was love the people. Love the people, help the people have a happier, healthier life. And I'm the spitting image of health equals happiness, because I'm healthy, I'm me again. Those that my family, my loved ones, especially my aunt who's sitting in front of me recording this, she watched me go through all of this, and she's been instrumental in teaching me. Knowledge is power, people. Knowledge is power. In teaching me. And the most important thing of my personal story is nutrition. I have to say that after those 3 days when I was on plan and my body was getting the nutrition that it needed and everything that subsequently happened, I had a moment of just anger I look back at all those 20 years of all the medicine, the hospitalization, the suicide attempts, and the diagnoses that I had gotten: bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. They were throwing diagnoses at me like you throw darts at a dartboard and handing me medications, and none of it helped. But what I found was that when I started to take control and paid attention to my nutrition, I had to wonder how much of what I had gone through in those 20 years was due to not one of those doctors, psychiatrists, in a hospital or anywhere I went ever asked me, what are you eating? Why is this important? Because there are so many people that are suffering with mental health issues that possibly are being medicated like I was. We need to help them, because nutrition changed my life, turned it around, and I had to do the work, mind you. I had to do the work, and I have.
It was very interesting at convention when those first questions
Yes.
were asked of Dr.
Yes,
A.
when we had what was that called? When we got to sit with Dr. A, we were sitting in what was that called?
And I know it, I can't think of it right
Okay,
now.
but it was the last day when it was something like unscripted with Dr. Anderson. Those of you that were there know what I'm talking about. But it was I was just amazed at the first 3 people that walked up there. Their questions were regarding mental health, and I felt like they were talking about my life. Dr. Anderson's mission of getting America healthy and now the world healthy, one healthy habit at a time, that includes mental health, not just how much you weigh or how active you can be. That includes your mental health. And there's so many people that might not even consider how nutrition impacts their mental health.
And Dr. A said that when you get the body healthy, the mind gets healthy too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For so many years, my body worked, but my mind was somewhat broken. And now everything's in sync. My body's healed and my mind is back. So,
And then all the time that we've spent learning.
yes, and I am a coach. I just cannot. I've already showered the kudos on my aunt, who has been right up front in helping teach me and lead me into changing my life. But I did the work. But she was right there alongside me, guiding me into how I could change my habits, and it's so greatly impacted my life. And shout out to Gay Brownlee, who is my Aunt Connie's coach. We get together every week, and Gay just spends her time and attention in helping build us so that we can help others, so that we can love others. And what I'm finding in our weekly sessions is that it not only is helping me to better help others, it's helping me in my personal life. Because that the things that we're learning to do for clients and prospective clients pertains to my personal life. And I something that I've learned in this journey also is coaches, you have to take care of yourselves. If you don't take care of yourselves, then you can't help others. But I'm just very grateful because I have a beautiful life. I'm part of a beautiful, like-minded community. I have
Your children back.
yes, I have my children back. I have a very good relationship with my children, which I had lost because of illness and just not being healthy enough to take care of them. And my children, my youngest daughter visited recently, and she told my Aunt Connie, my mom's back. Her mom's back. And it's just fabulous, because that's one of the best gifts that you can give your children and your family, is to be healthy yourself. Because people don't, as we're going through our daily lives and we're making the choices we're making for our health, our daily lives, whether it's, we are having whatever our issues are, having problems exercising, having problems achieving our weight loss goals, whatever our problems are, what I realized by that instance of seeing my daughter, and my daughter, she didn't say that to me, she said that to my aunt. And an aside, oh my goodness, I have my mom back. I'm so relieved I don't have to worry about her anymore. So maybe that's a consideration we can all take in is that as we're helping clients and as we're helping ourselves, that our families worry about us, our loved ones worried about us. Our loved ones want us to be healthy, and we, as we get healthy, we emulate and demonstrate how being healthy can change the lives of people around us. You all have a good evening. And again, feel free to share this with whoever, share my ramblings with whoever it will help. Good night.
It's amazing, isn't it? And the whole, let's unmute everybody for a minute. There we go. And the whole point of this is if someone can come so far back from where she was, just think of what each of us can do for ourselves if we get that desire. And life is tough. Life is tough. So I'm going to go ahead. There's this next one that I'm going to share with you. I didn't know about. Dorothy actually saw it today, and I went in, got it. It was Nicholas Fry, and Nicholas Fry is Dorothy. Will you talk on that just a minute? You have to unmute, and then we'll play Nick.
Yeah, he works for Activia. Yep, and he's just
He's a behavioral specialist, right?
Right. Yep, and he's just an amazing guy. And I guess he does this periodically. I didn't know.
I will start catching these now that I know that he's doing them. But it was kind of ironic. His message was so in line with Lisa's, huh?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so we'll share again, and we'll do Nick, and Nick's just a few minutes too.
And so sometimes we can let our own emotional well-being kind of drift to the bottom of our priority list, right? So we're gonna move that back up to the top of the priority list today because it is so crucial that we all take care of our emotional well-being. So when I was preparing this talk, I had the opportunity to speak with emotional self-care extraordinaire and Optavia coach Jen Jones. So I don't know if any of you know Jen personally, but this was the first opportunity I got to talk with her. And we did a wonderful Zoom call last week. And I asked her, I wanted to get her input on how she handles emotional self-care. What does she do to take care of herself? Because she is incredible, you guys. She is so positive and inspiring and wonderful, and I highly recommend that if you haven't met her, seek her out. I know she's got a Facebook page. I know she's got a website. Seek out Optavia coach Jen Jones because she's such a positive and inspiring person to know and to have in your life. So I asked Jen, Jen, how do you maintain such good emotional well-being while taking care of all of these other people? And she said, well, she wasn't very good at it at first, actually. She was just constantly on this disappointment treadmill over and over again, feeling disappointment, feeling frustrated, struggling. And what she discovered was that she was really focused on externals. She was focused on, do I look right? She was focused on, hold on, looks like I got a low battery here, but I'm gonna hit close. We're all good, we're gonna make it. She was focusing on externals. Do I look right? Do I look the part? Am I copying or emulating this other person perfectly? Do I have all the trappings and looks and images and optics of somebody that is mentally healthy? And she discovered that that just led to more and more disappointment. So what she did was she started focusing on her internals. She started focusing on her own personal transformation, not just how she looked on the outside, but who she was on the inside. The next thing she did was she surrounded herself with a small circle of people that were comfortable in their own skin, that were comfortable with themselves enough so that they could take in criticism, they could take in feedback, and they could provide honest criticism and feedback to Jen. And they had this honest, open, and trusting relationship with each other. They surrounded each other with support and love to help each other grow. And then that leads into the final thing that Jen said, because we use that metaphor a lot here at Optavia, right? Helping people grow, planting a seed, watering that seed, getting sunshine onto that seed. But when I was talking to Jen, she said something so insightful and so profound that I can't just wait to share it with you all. She said, all of this talk about growth and seeds, what she discovered is the secret is in the soil. The secret is in the soil. So what does she mean by that? Well, the soil is what nourishes the seed. It's what provides the environment for the roots to grow down and be strong. So your soil are the people, places, and things that you surround yourself with that nourish you, encourage you, and support you. So tips from Optavia coach Jen Jones are surround yourself with good soil. So I've got a few more tips for you, just a couple more things that I think might be really helpful. First and foremost, my first tip is get to know your emotions. All of them. Get to know them. Make them your friends. What are they? How do they feel? Physically, how do they interact with your body? What triggers your emotions? What triggers your joy? What triggers your sorrow? What triggers your frustration and anger? Are they people? Are they places? Are they things? Get to know your emotions. Become self-aware. And you may recognize that because it's actually the first step to emotional intelligence, something we think is very important here at Optavia and we talk a lot about. So getting to know your emotions as they are friends helps you to, what I like to call, feel and deal with your emotions. And the first step is emotional awareness. The second tip that I want to give everybody is to maintain healthy boundaries. Maintain healthy boundaries. As I said before, this is a very emotional thing that we're helping people with, right? Getting healthy, reaching that optimal health and wellness. It's very emotional. And something that can go wrong is when we take on other people's emotional weight and baggage so that it drags us down, right? And when we do that, we don't have good, healthy boundaries. We aren't taking good care of ourselves first and foremost, but instead we're taking responsibility for other people's emotions. And that means we are crossing a healthy boundary. We're leaving that behind. Now, a healthy boundary is what I like to call semi-permeable. Semi-permeable, meaning we still feel other people's emotions. We still have empathy and compassion for them, but we don't take on the burden of their responsibility. Now, healthy boundaries is a pretty complex topic, so I'm going to stop there. And I don't know, maybe there's going to be a series in the future on maintaining healthy boundaries, but an important one for our own emotional well-being. And the third and final one is to develop what's called an emotional toolbox. An emotional toolbox. And this is really a collection of all the coping skills that you've developed over your years of experience. What has worked for you? What helps you to manage your emotional state? Help you feel emotionally well? What is in your toolbox? So it doesn't have to be a physical toolbox, although I'm sure it could be. You could have a physical toolbox that maybe you keep, I don't know, essential oils in, or a meditation cushion, or a yoga mat, or something like that, or a diary, or a journal, something like that. It could be a physical space. But what I'm talking about is really a list of your coping skills. What helps you? And then you can pull that tool out when the situation requires and use it, right? You have to have multiple tools. So Abraham Maslow, a famous psychologist, once said, if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, right? But not every problem is a nail. And we need screwdrivers, and we need measuring tape, and we need drills, and we need levels, and we need all of these tools to help us with our emotional well-being. So I'm going to let you all in on a little secret here. I've got 3 tools that I use that I'm going to share with you all right now. So for me personally, tool number 1, whenever I'm dealing with a problem or a difficult decision, I have to reach out to my wife and my family for help. I have to. I tend to isolate when I have a difficult problem to solve or a challenge I'm facing, and that's never good for me. So my first tool in my toolbox is reach out for help. Second, when I'm feeling really tired or fatigued or run down or overstressed, I know I'm missing a crucial component to my emotional health: quiet alone time. So it may not be self-evident, but I'm actually an introvert, not an extrovert. And so as an introvert, I really need that quiet alone time in order to recharge my batteries. And that's the only difference between introverts and extroverts. Introverts need quiet alone time to recharge their batteries, whereas extroverts need interaction with other people to recharge their batteries. That's really the only difference. So I know if I'm feeling really tired or stressed out, I got to sit down in my leather chair with a cup of coffee and a good book, recharge my batteries. So that's my second tool in my emotional toolbox. And the third tool, and this is something I have to do every day, like a daily vitamin, is I have to laugh every single day. If I'm not getting that daily dose of laughter, then I'm not taking good care of my emotional well-being. Whether it's just sitting on the couch scrolling through memes, laughing at them with my wife, or watching a funny video or a TV show or a movie, or cracking jokes with my neighbor, sitting here right next to me, next to my desk, Lindsay. Whatever it is, I gotta laugh every single day. It's like a daily vitamin for me. So those are my 3 tools in my emotional toolbox. Reach out for help, get plenty of alone time to recharge my batteries, and get a daily dose of laughter. All right, so those are the tips for emotional self-care. I'm just going to run through them quickly again just to summarize what we talked about. First and foremost, emotional self-care is a habit of a healthy mind, right? We want to eat well, we want to exercise, we want to get sleep, and we got to take care of our minds and our emotional well-being. What Jen Jones, emotional self-care extraordinaire Jen Jones, talked about was the secret is in the soil. So who do you surround yourself with? What are the people, places, and things that nourish you and allow you to put your roots down? The secret is in the soil. Who do you surround yourself with? Then I talked about 3 more tips. 1, get to know your emotions, become friends with them, learn about them. 2, maintain healthy boundaries so you're taking good care of yourself and not taking on too much emotional baggage from other people. And then 3, have an emotional toolbox. Have an emotional toolbox where you have just certain tools that you list out that you can grab and pick up whenever you need them. My emotional tools are reach out for help, get plenty of quiet time to recharge my batteries, and get a daily dose of laughter. So there you go. That is Self-Care for Coaches, Part 2, Emotional Self-Care. So I hope that you guys learned something today. I was really excited to present this information to you today. I think it's so fun and so cool. But we've got one more.
Okay, so now let's pull this back up. Everybody can unmute. And so we'll go. This is our question of the night, doing a little different. So what's in your toolbox? Did you unmute Tony?
No, he didn't. Tony's unmute. Tony's muted.
Uh-huh.
He's a mute.
Martha also.
I'm unmuted
There he
now.
is. Okay.
Okay, so we're doing
Number
2
3,
things tonight, and I think I can probably get out of the share. One, the question is what's in your toolbox, and the other is what your takeaway is tonight. So what's in your emotional toolbox? I'm very bad about going inward. I'm not one for, like he says, talking to others. So I go inward, and that's something I have worked on. And Tony is right the opposite. He gets it right out there, right on the table. So over the years, I have learned how to do that, to reach out and to share more of what's going on the inside rather than keeping it to myself. And my takeaway today is that, we all have work to do. It never ends. And Lisa has taught me a lot over these last 2 days. And seeing her go from just a lost child in this world that nobody felt could be helped, to seeing her now helping others. And if it's possible for her, it's possible for everyone. And that would be my takeaway. And I will throw this to Dorothy, and I'm going to, y'all can remember those 2 things, can't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing then.
First of all,
So go ahead, Dorothy.
I'd like to say that Lisa has a way of articulating what she wants to say that is so relaxed, and I envy that because I'm always a nervous wreck when I have to do something like that. And just she picks the right words. I like that. Takeaway. I like everything that he said. I am also an introvert, so I cannot usually share my pain. But I do use music, and I guess I lean on the Lord a lot. I try to be as self-sufficient as possible, but that doesn't always work, especially when it comes to computers. That's anything to do with that technical world. I'd like to go back to Little House on the Prairie.
Right. Yeah.
But no, that was my takeaway. I am an introvert, and I do use music a lot, whenever I need to So I thought he was very interesting, and so was Lisa.
Yeah. And I think you also use self-help tapes. You always talking about Tony Robbins.
I use every self-help that, Brene Brown, just Wayne Dyer, anything that I can, that I can use to get me through a day. And I feel like if you only catch one thing they're saying, it might be something different than they said. They said it before, but you didn't catch it before. So yeah, I like to do that kind of stuff because it keeps me from getting within myself.
Yes.
And that's what, like you, I'm an introvert. Yeah. So I'm going to go to Birdman.
Okay. First of all, the segment with Lisa was just incredible. She is so well spoken, and I feel for her. And I've seen her transform, because I remember when she first came to Florida a few years ago, and Connie used to say, "Why don't you go in and get her out of her room?"
I forgot that I would.
Yeah, I remember that. And she's changed so dramatically, and she looks fantastic in her uniform. She really does. I wanted to tell her that, but she's gone.
She'll probably listen.
Oh yeah, she looks fantastic, and she is just such a, such an encouragement. Just to look at her and see how she's blossomed. It's amazing. Also, the guy that was talking before, a lot of things resonated with me, especially when he talked about healthy boundaries, because I have a habit of letting people invade my healthy boundaries, and I start living their lives and agonizing over their problems, and it becomes my problem. It's not healthy for me. It's like I can't save everybody. I can try to do what I can, but I cannot save everybody. So I have to work on healthy boundaries more.
That was good. And what's in your toolbox?
I'm also an introvert, so I need lots of alone time to recharge my batteries. I love solitary things like reading, music, hanging out with the birds.
Photography.
And I do love laughter. And Tony's good for that every day when I read his jokes. That's great. I love that.
And photography.
And photography. I haven't done it, though, that much, the photography.
Yeah.
But I am an introvert, so I need lots of alone time. That's why I probably don't even live with anybody, because I need to live alone. I like to see people, but then I like to go back and be alone and recharge. So.
Okay. It's interesting. That's 3 of us.
Yeah.
Who are you throwing to?
How about, I don't see her. No, Martha Pickering.
Oh, wow.
There she is, okay.
I think my biggest takeaway was his toolbox. I need it. I am also when things are going bad, I just shut myself away. And thank God for Connie. Called me this morning and was talking to me, and she said that she hadn't even seen me since I've been home, so she was coming over here. And I said, well, you've got so much other to do. And I sat here and I said, how selfish can I be to shut myself away, make her drive all this way over here after she works. So I went in and took a shower, and I went over to see Connie. And she showed me the Zoom. We did the Zoom, and I even laughed. Connie sat or smiled. I have shut myself away, even being up north with my daughters, but they kind of forced themselves on me at times. But I didn't socialize a lot up there and things. I just more or less stayed in my trailer. And that's what I've done since I've come home. But the other day I did start decorating for Christmas because Dick loved it. He loved the decorations. And I wasn't going to do anything. And for him, I did. I got the tree 3/4 done. I do a little bit because then it starts getting to me the decorations, how special they were. But I think his saying that the toolbox of getting out with other people and things, and that's what I need to do. And I have really, since Sunday, I've been pretty good about it, and I'm going to go do Zumba tomorrow. So I am working on that, and in my toolbox, I do think music is. I have had the music on constantly because Dick had the TV on. God love him, but that was his way of coping with things, and he watched TV. So I have been playing the music a lot, day and night almost. And that
church is good for you.
church. I did go to church, and actually the first time I've been out since I was home, I went to church Sunday morning and went out to eat with the group.
Good.
And then I went back to church Sunday night.
Very good.
Then I went over to see Connie today.
Very
good. I'll do Zumba tomorrow.
All right. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, you go too.
Yeah, we're gonna Zumba.
And I didn't realize, I think the biggest thing is I didn't realize the burden I was putting on everybody else because everybody has been so concerned about me, and I was pulling away in my own little world and saying, I don't want you anything to do with anybody. But that is, and I did promise Dick I would take care of myself. So I think I'm on the right path. I know I'm going to have bad days. Today started out bad, but I'm very thankful for today.
You want to tell them what today is?
Today would have been Dick's and our 44th wedding anniversary. So, but a very dear friend of ours has just passed away, and she years ago gave Dick a pair of those flannel pajama type things that had Woody Woodpecker all over them, and he wore them constantly, and I hated them when he wore them out. And I wrote to a friend of ours that was going to the funeral, and I said, tell Ralph that I'm sure that Jenny's up there with Dick, and he's running around in his Woody Woodpecker pants and reminiscing about all the good times we had. So it made it, and I think going out today was the best thing I could have done because it has been so much better since I've come home.
Good.
Well, you're surrounded by friends, and they love you.
I know, and I feel bad that I shut everybody out. I mean, I did.
It's okay. It takes time. Dorothy can tell you that. I think Dorothy predicted this. She told me, no, Marcia's not handling it. Remember that, Dorothy?
I wasn't, but I will. I know I'm going to have bad days again, but I'm not going to wallow in them.
And I told her she needed to be here with all of us. And that was the same point I was making to Martha when I called her today, that she needed to be here with us. That can be the difference. Who are you throwing to, Martha?
I'll throw it to the other Martha.
There you go. We have to unmute Martha. Let me see if I can unmute you. There you go. You're unmuted.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. I know it wasn't what you wanted to do.
I'm not with it, but I got a whole lot out of it. I'm glad you're all here.
Okay.
I don't have much to say.
And that's fine. You wanna just go ahead and pass to Tony?
Yeah.
Hey, I miss you, lady. I miss you. You need to get down to Florida and enjoy this beautiful weather and get away from that cold Ohio weather. Ooh. No,
When do you go on your cruise?
Oh, it's not a cruise. I'm flying to.
Yeah.
That's middle of February.
Yeah.
And I started thinking I should cancel that.
Why?
Because that's what I do. I plan something I want to really, really do, and then I don't feel well, so then I think I have to cancel it because I won't be able to make it.
Is that like what Marcia was talking about and feeling like you don't want to be a burden to other people?
No, I don't have the strength and energy.
Oh, you're actually feeling physically ill.
Well, that's a long ways away, though.
Yeah, February.
That now, that's February.
Yeah, that's a long time away. You'll get there.
You
Yeah.
gotta get her down to Florida in the
Yeah,
sunshine
yeah.
and under that cold weather.
That's what it is.
Takes
What
everything out of you. Yeah.
my takeaway there is I think that helping others through that time, so the health, the weight, the thinking, the problems, helping others is kind of, it makes me feel real good, and I like doing that. It's one of the things that I enjoy. Uh, in my toolbox, when I get down the dumps, I always go to my art. That's what's in my toolbox. It
Yeah.
changes my whole attitude. I either paint or I draw or I sketch. I do something that art, because that's where gets me into back to where I should be thinking in all that. So, and of course, in my laughter, I think everybody should laugh. So I like to keep people laughing if I can, because the more we laugh, the better we're going to feel. Uh, I think Connie will tell you that we never go to sleep unless she laughs. I make her laugh every single night.
Good for you.
In bed.
Well, actually, when he was talking just then, I realized
Goes
because
to bed
sometimes
laughing.
I know he's not going to stop unless I laugh. So, so that makes me laugh.
You
Because he'll
said,
keep
well,
on trying until, and
getting
sometimes
a
it's really
getting
cool
good
stuff.
laugh is good, you know. I even got my minister the other day in church Sunday. I was filling the grapefruit juice for communion, and I looked at him and I said, one of these days I want to surprise you. He says, what? I says, I want to put real wine in these. And he said, that'll be something. And he said, well, he started cracking up. He says, don't do it, please. But, can you imagine? I mean, let's put some real wine in it. I mean, let's get some life here. So, yeah, laughing is good for all of us. So I the jokes. I like that.
What was your takeaway tonight, Tony? Did you have a takeaway? You're always good with your perspectives.
Well, my takeaway, is the more we help people, like they said, what you need to do for yourself and keep your health. To stay healthy, you could show other people, look at me, I'm healthy. You could do the same. Let me help you get there. Just call me, or I tell you how to do it. So that's the takeaway that I like, that I found from this guy that was talking about, get healthy, and other people will get healthier,
Yes.
and all the people together. It's kind of nice to have all the friends like we have.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's like a recharge battery, talking to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I meditate. I do meditate. I've done that for years. I've done meditation when it was like you meditate? Ooh, that's weird, There was a time when that people looked at that in that way.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
that was one of the things that I was really surprised about when I got with Take Shape for Life, when it was Take Shape for Life. Because meditation, they talked about meditation, and it wasn't even popular then, and now it's a very big part of what they do. It's one of the healthy habits of meditating. They'll remember our little videos we would get in the challenge of just breathing and just that all. There's an exercise. Martha and I talked about it, and it was what is it? Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's supposed to reset the mind. So it was like a habit that you could form in order to get out of a funky place if you wanted to rearrange your the way you're thinking at that present moment. But and getting up and moving, changing your physiology was another one of the things that you could do to get yourself out of the doldrums as well. But I thank you, everybody, for coming, and especially the two Marthas, because this was hard.
It's nice seeing you, Martha. Get away from the cold weather, or come to Florida.
Seriously, get you a ticket and come down here.
Get an
Martha, do you
interview.
want to? Martha, do you want to tell Martha the thoughts you had? Since y'all weren't going to see each other, I mentioned it to her, but this might be a time for you to speak to her a little bit about what you were thinking.
About her staying with me.
Uh-huh.
I think that maybe we could work something out on that line. If you don't mind my dog. Dick's dog, actually, but she's become mine. She's become very, very loving in things. She doesn't feel she has to protect me for some reason. It was always Dick she protected. But if you come down, I really would like you to come out and stay at the house.
Thank you.
Things
I
you
appreciate
need to get away and get around people like
Yes.
Connie and Tony and Marcia and
You.
me. I'm doing. Today has been such a pain because I was shutting myself away from the world. I definitely was, and
You two would either be really good for each other or you'd be really bad for each other. I'm not sure which one it would be. I might have to go over there and drag both of you out of there.
Well, maybe if one of us suggested something to get out and the other one said, no, well, yeah,
Martha was down here.
She does it to me.
Martha wasn't like this when she was down here. Martha was happy and doing stuff and enjoying herself. So I wish you could see your way clear to coming back down here for a few weeks, if nothing else.
I'll think about it.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night. Great self.
Anytime.
Yeah.
We'll have to inject some energy into your system out here in Florida if you come. I'll get you going.
Okay.
That's a threat.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Peace.
Yeah, Martha, you want to stay on a few minutes?
Okay.